Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, hello.
That ends too abruptly.
I'm not hearing anybody.
And we've lost Randall already. That's going to be record time.
We had everybody, and now we're down.
Now we're down one. That's going to be record time for losing someone on a stream. Up. He's back. He returns.
Now I hear you. All right.
Huzzah.
Starting with the high volume promotion, I couldn't hear anything. That's weird. Anyway.
How's everyone doing?
It was good.
Yeah.
Another week.
Doing awesome.
Happy Humpday.
Happy Humpday.
Oh.
My dad used to know a guy who, when he was having a good day, he would say, "I'm popping hot buttered corn." And
wow.
That's like the weirdest thing, but it's stuck with me. And I've kept it so long that I'm going to try to bring it back. So how am I doing? I'm popping hot buttered corn, y'all.
So instead of just saying he was making popcorn, he was popping hot buttered corn.
Yeah. Something.
All right. Yeah. Let's get into the show.
Okay. we are into the show. We're just not really into the show. We're not in as they say.
Okay. So let's use Gen Z slang. I'm bussin', no cap.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You're making me think my grandfather used to say, "Well, saw me off and call me shorty."
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right.
Let's bring the introductions. Get this over and get into some
intros. Let's do intros.
Okay, my name's Simon Lightfoot, Flutter Community Leader, CTO of Dev Angels London, and you can follow me on social media and other places at Dev Angels London. Randall
Schwartz. I'm a Flutter Google developer expert, have been since the beginning of the program about 7 years ago, which means I answer a lot of questions online for everybody and also occasionally consult people to mentor them forward in their Flutter journeys. But for this particular show, I am the question magician, which means that I am watching the chat room that you all have. I'm looking for a Q colon at the beginning of a line, and that means that you are trying to ask us, the panel, a question. If I don't see Q colon, I presume it's just y'all chatting amongst yourselves, which you do frequently, and we enjoy that as well. But if you don't put Q in front of it, I probably won't notice it. And don't repeat the question, because if you repeat the question, you come out of line and put at the end of the line. So you just wasted yourself 15, 20 minutes, probably typically. So there we go. Danielle?
Sure. I'm Danielle Cox. I'm one of the organizers of the Flutteristas. I see Kaylee out in the audience. If you tuned in yesterday, you've seen stuff. We're all part of that. And we're an organization of female and non-binary Flutter enthusiasts. So if that speaks to you, then speak to me and we'll get you in. I'm also, for the day job, I'm a tech lead of a small group of Flutter engineers at a startup called Ardley. And that's me. So John.
John Weezy. I manage the Flutter community medium. Like Randall, I hang out in different places answering questions. And I have a small app that I maintain through my company, Hill Valley Studios, that keeps me busy most of the time. And with that, I'll turn it over to Matthew.
Yeah, I'm a random guy that Simon found on the street one day, and here I am. No, hi. My name is Matthew Jones. I am a senior innovation engineer at a very large financial institution whose name I'm not allowed to say. But my big thing that I'm excited about is my YouTube channels. Yes, it's plural now. I've got the main Makerinator channel where I post all kinds of weird builds and crazy things using Flutter that you might not normally expect. And then I've also started a second channel named Makerinator Uncut. And on the Uncut channel, you'll find where I live stream periodically. In fact, I'll probably be live streaming tonight. And after a few live streams, I cut those down into lightly edited vlogs so that you can see like 7 hours of live streams in about 30 minutes. That is me.
Cool.
Welcome to the show, everyone. What else do we want to do? We don't need to do some don'ts, do we? I don't know. There you go. Don't be respectful.
Be nice, and we have a band hammer.
Yeah, and don't be nasty.
That's all we need. Yeah. Be nice, don't be bad.
Yeah, and if you want to share code, there's a little process you have to go through. John, do you want to walk us through that?
Yeah, sure. If you want to share code, or anything with the URL, don't do it. No one will see it. It'll look to you like it went through, but nobody else will see your post with the URL in it. So if you're going to share some code, best way to do it is head over to just.new, fill out the information that's needed there, give it a descriptive title, a file name that ends with .dart, so we get the lovely Dart formatting in the code, paste the code in, type it out however you want to do it. And then once you've published it, at the very end of the URL, you'll see a nice, lovely long hash. Just grab that and paste that into a message to us, and we can then use that to go with the code.
Right.
Yay.
That's the usuals out the way.
Yay.
Oh,
Good to
I
be
just
here.
discovered a really interesting Flutter package that I am probably the last person of this group to be aware of. Like, I'm sure everyone else is like, man, we've known about this for 6 months. Where have you been, hiding under a rock? But apparently, and I don't know how I wasn't aware of this, there is an official Dart MCP package out there that you can bring into your app to allow it to be controlled via an AI
Yeah.
through MCP.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this and I'm like, with the stuff I do, you know, Raspberry Pis, Arduinos, all that stuff, this is great. This is like the first step towards me creating robotic overlords that rule everyone through the power of AI. This is fantastic.
Skynet.
So I'm just looking at that and I'm like, combine that with like the Gen UI stuff that's going on. That is really an interesting idea. So I'm kind of excited to play around with that. I haven't yet.
Yep. Good
Oh,
stuff.
thank you, Simon. You didn't have to do that. That's very kind of you.
No, I had a hard time trying to find it. You know that. I
What's
just
wrong?
typed it in the end because it's not linked from your link tree, or your main channel doesn't link to it in the links.
Oh,
you need to do that.
I'll fix it. I will fix it tonight. Yep. I did not realize
Mm.
that it wasn't in the link tree. I will take care of that. Thank you, Simon. That's very kind.
Sorry.
It was
got-
often
got
the
a video
link
here.
leads.
Free CAD kicks. My bum.
Yep.
What'd you say, Simon?
You said a vlog in which Free CAD kicks my bum 3 days ago.
Yes. That was okay. All right. It's not Flutter related, but I'm going to go on a tangent here, guys. FreeCAD is the simultaneous most awesome and most infuriating software I've ever had the privilege to use. It is awesome because it will do everything that you need. It is a fully featured CAD product. You can design whatever you need to do inside of FreeCAD, and the 1.1 release adds a bunch of stuff that makes it fantastic. But also, it is infuriating. Like, there's so many stupid things that I've run into. Like, if you don't hide everything except what you're currently working on, inevitably when you click on it, it'll select the wrong thing. I had a moment where I was trying to delete a body, and the delete option wasn't grayed out, so there was no hint to me that maybe I can't delete something, and I kept pounding the delete button, and it just wouldn't go anywhere. And finally, a buddy of mine that was in stream chat was like, "You need to close the sketch first." And I'm like, what? And then I did, and then I was able to delete it. But it was the most infuriating experience. And it's like, here's the thing. Like, the FreeCAD alternatives, if you don't want gimped software, if you don't want software that has stupid restrictions on it, or all of your documents made public, or some stupid stuff like that, you're going to pay $1,500 for Onshape, over $500 for Fusion. I don't even know how much SolidWorks is, but like, you're going to pay a stupid amount of money. So FreeCAD existing and being supported and continuing the development is a very, very, very good thing. But holy smokes, there's some UI stuff that I wish they would fix.
It reminds me of quite a few open source packages, like things like Inkscape and
Yep.
GIMP and things like that, where the UI is extremely confusing.
And the
I will
crazy
say,
thing is 1.1 is way better than it used to be, and that's saying something because it's still got a ways to go, guys. But you know, also, like, I like it. Like, I'm at the point now where I understand how FreeCAD works, and like, it has beaten me with a stick enough times that I can work competently in it. But at the same time, to someone new to CAD, I don't know if I could recommend it to them. You know?
Yeah. I talking about which, I found this came up on my feed the other day, and I was like, oh, I want to try this. So yeah, you can like give it a description, and then it will it will design, take you through the sort of planning, schematic layout, and essentially hand it over to PCBWay for them to actually manufacture it for you. So there's some interesting, you need to make some hardware now.
Hopefully better than some of them do with like text when you tell them you want certain text in it and you get it spelled wrong. I can just see you getting back like a PCB with like chips on top of each other.
Random resistors just sticking out of the side.
Crossed. It's like, here you go.
I can't believe.
So frustrating.
+5 wired to ground. Yes, exactly. All those good things.
I can't believe Matthew didn't jump in and say, when PCBWay was mentioned, saying, and use my code, MakerNator at checkout.
You joke. After the last video that I put up about the present peaker trap, PCBWay reached out to me and offered a sponsorship. And
wow.
I didn't because I'm trying to protect the integrity of MakerNator.
Oh, come on.
And I hadn't used them, so I didn't want to shill for them if I hadn't used them.
I honestly, I try them out and tell them, say, if I try your service and if it's good, then I'll do it. Because to be honest with you, that's exactly that is a really good pairing, right? When you have makers and PCBWay, that's just like a brilliant pairing. I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were destined.
It is your destiny.
It is my destiny. This was manufactured by PCBWay. I'm actually very happy with the quality of the board. Like, no complaints. It took forever to get here. The shipping, not their fault. They are based in China, so I can't, I'm not upset. Like, that is par for the course. But, like, the actual product is great. Like, so anyway, use code MakerNator on PCBWay for $5 off your first. But I'm so upset because I learned KiCad just to create this Raspberry Pi hat, and now AI, all that work making KiCad, I could have just dumped it because Simon's AI will generate all my boards for me now. So
yeah,
Matt, that's my entire life now so far. I just go, Gemini can do it now. So it's happening to all of us. It's great that it's also happening at the hardware level. This is wonderful. It's not just software that's being taken over by AI.
There is an interesting thing. This isn't going to be the AI show, but we'll talk about it briefly since we're on the topic and we'll wait for questions coming in. Put your questions in, people.
Yes, please.
Or topics of discussion or anything you like.
Or live coding suggestions. Anything.
Yeah, live coding suggestions a lot. I will say that it was quite interesting. I saw I posted it to our internal AI group, but I saw a little bit when someone was talking about it was in a courtroom or something, talking about how basically people are bad actors are using AI now a lot, not just for like scamming, but actually for hacking into things and doing things like that, like using some of the tools. And I think Claude Anthropic, so they produced a really smart model for finding vulnerabilities now, and they're not releasing it because it's so scary that it will literally find holes in absolutely everything, right?
If you believe it, was thousands of zero-day exploits.
Yeah.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Mythos.
Exactly.
Claude Mythos.
Yeah.
Mythos. Yes.
We were talking about it this morning at work. Claude Mythos is what you're referring to. It's insane.
Funny.
Like it found like bugs in FFmpeg that have been there for 15 years. It found bugs at Mythos. It's actually with a Y.
With a Y, yeah, MY.
But
yeah.
Mentos is what you put in Coke to create an explosion.
Right.
Yeah, but which is also very similar to what's happening to the world because of AI right now. So it really still works.
I tell you what does make me wonder. It does make me wonder how many of these exploits have actually been around. They're 0 days effective, but not been obviously spoken about. And there are like governments and other big bodies that are taking advantage of some things. They've got to be been around for years,
Well, or at least known to be able to be on deck to be taken advantage of. Yeah. So that's kind of the difference between like Anthropic and say, I don't know, the department, the CIA or whatever, because Anthropic finds it a bug with say Windows, they tell Microsoft.
Yep.
Yeah.
The CIA finds out about it, and they go, "Well, I hope nobody else knows about this."
they make a little note.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then they start a list. How can we exploit this?
In Flutter news, there was just a beta release yesterday. I've installed it in Puro. I suspect they're winding up to a release for next. So I imagine there's going to be a stable release next weekend or next week. And speaking of Next, I won't be here next week because I'll be at Next. Yay! First time ever. So that'll
Good
be
for
fun.
you.
So for all of you who are showing up at Next, come on by. And if you're a North American GDE, I'm also at the GDE Summit the Monday and Tuesday of next week. So that'll be fun hanging out with all my fellow North American GDEs.
Yeah.
So fun stuff.
Yeah,
and a
Speaking of
chance to
conferences, you have
Go
2
ahead.
weeks to get your talk submitted for FlutterCon USA. So
Yep.
if you
Which
wish
is
to be a presenter,
Why, I wore
make
the
sure
shirt.
that you get that in.
Yes.
Yes.
Wore my FlutterCon shirt today.
There
Yes.
was another Flutter topic that we don't normally talk about, but I do want to bring it up because it has gone around a bit. For those, so why not? We're here. We're talking about. Why not?
Is it still down? Is it still gone?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I just went. So, it turns out that GetX's GitHub repo is offline. Apparently they've been banned or something. So
I don't know. He popped up on the Discord too, telling us about it, and it sounds like out of the blue they just shut him off.
But
I
what I find interesting is
hacked. I suspect he got hacked, and lost credentials and got locked out as a result. I suspect that's what happened.
I do find it kind of interesting that there hasn't been a new published version. So if I'd lost my repo on GitHub, I would have pushed it up to a myriad other, GitLab or something, and push an update to Pub from there. But there's been no update on Pub.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's suspicious. He's been talking about being locked out of GitHub on Reddit though. So he is involved.
It can't just be locked out of GitHub.
Yeah,
if you were locked out of your GitHub, the first thing you would have done is to update things and push it somewhere else, right? Start working from somewhere else.
Plus, if you're locked out, that doesn't mean that your stuff goes away.
So,
well, assuming that you haven't deleted everything off of your local machine or something, so that you have a copy, right?
Yeah,
and
who doesn't keep local copies of all their repos though?
I would think
I've got a whole
would,
repos
right?
folder for all my half-finished projects on my machine.
On like 5 different
Hundreds of
computers.
them.
Yeah.
So the real package is still on Pub. That's kind of the nature of Pub, is that once you've published, it's permanent. It's etched in stone.
The real packages get out, says Rob.
One of the conversations, that I saw.
I would never use GetX in a project, but that doesn't mean we say bad things about the author or the process.
And there were interesting things on Reddit about discussions about, though, when you do have third-party packages and you're relying on them, that there is always a risk of something like this happening. So.
Yeah.
The nice thing is, I do have to say, in that situation, the nice thing is the way that Pub works is that you can actually still, doesn't matter if the repo goes, a copy of the source code is in the versions download section. You can download a tar of the contents of the source code. You can then pull that out. You can drop it into a subdirectory of your app. You can continue using it, make your own patches and updates, whatever you need to do. Like, it's all possible, right? Just because the repo goes away doesn't mean like the package is gone. That's the way Pub is designed to work, right?
And with all the people that have forked the package in order to submit patches, I'm sure we have a pretty current version somewhere on GitHub.
Well, I when someone was asking about location of a fork or whatever, I saw Remy even answered with one.
So right, all these people that are trying to submit pull requests but haven't been.
I still just don't get like why it's just not up and running already on another,
Yeah.
If I was thinking about, it'd be straight back up alarm, which tells me something else got hacked or something else is weird. Then ask me what that is.
We have a question if we want to actually get back to the show.
Oh, wow.
Sure.
Cool.
Okay, so first, Simon, you need to go here.
Okay, we've got a
we got a gist.
Somebody send in the gist of something.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to do that.
Well, Simon's pulling that up.
The joke, but I'm ching.
I'm gonna plug a show that it's a video series that we're gonna be doing soon here, Randall and I.
Yeah.
So while he's pulling that up, everybody here probably remembers, back in the day when we were first getting started, 7 years ago with Flutter, 8 years ago at this point. When you wanted to learn, you went out and you found videos from whoever happened to post something. Typically Matt or, one of those guys would post something. And there were a lot of how-tos based on TMDB, the video movie database, movie database, right? So I had the idea.
But you know why that is?
Well, because it's free and it's graphic and there's different things, but beyond
it was
that,
also because the course material for Appbury London. That was one of the things that they did.
Yeah,
they would say, here's how you make an app.
That makes sense.
Use the TV database as a database, right?
Yeah. Well, so I've been thinking about doing at least a video or series of posts or something on something like that with Signals and updating it to current. So I reached out and Randall said, hey, I'd love to co-host that with you. So I think Randall and I are going to start doing some videos on building a movie related data application from TMDB. With updated stuff. So like the 2026 version of getting started with Flutter. So we'll probably use stuff like our HTTP and Signals and, all those fun things and talk a little about other things as well, trying to talk about theming and
what format are you going to do it live or are you going to do it?
Yeah, we haven't really talked about it. It'll be video of some sort. I don't know if we're going to do just recorded and posts or if we're going to do like live and then have those up there. We'll figure that out in the next week or two. I've started building the app.
Good.
And stuff this last weekend. So hopefully in the next week we'll have a functioning app that we can then solidify any changes we want to make and a list of what we want to talk about.
With what I was doing recently, it occurred to me the best probable way of doing this is to work on the code because you get more hours, right? And then explain the changes that have happened, and then work on it a bit more in live stream, and then take people's feedback into account, and then you can kind of cycle that.
Nice. Yeah.
Yep. I'm sure it'll be heavily AI assisted because it'll be more fun and quicker.
I was thinking the other day about doing, the way you have like a TV, like Plex kind of apps for home streaming and stuff. Doing that might be an interesting one to do. Because it's a different, like having a TV style interface is a different type of, process and thought pattern around sort of like how you handle using pad navigation and things.
Well, I think what would be interesting is, sorry, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so my thought was, obviously just getting started with that with Signals and as, kind of a new thing to teach people about, but then expanding it, right? It's something that I'd like to see more of like, okay, once we have that done, then, okay, how do we make this responsive and make it, how do we change it from a phone app to make it work on different platforms and show people that are going through that, like the ways to do it and help, with their struggles. Cause I think a lot of people have done that, right? They built it for the phone and then they're like, oh, well, now I can make it work on Windows or Mac or the web. And what are the changes that you need to make and all that? Cause obviously it's different and there are ways to do it and there are ways that work and some that don't work as well.
It is, calling an API and getting stuff and stick it on the screen is like the easy one, right? Like it's like what you do after that. Where do you go after that? How do you make an app more long lived? Multi-platform and screen.
One of my favorite talks of all time was the first I/O I went to, and it was Andrew, and I can't remember who he was with, but they basically were doing a newspaper app kind of thing, and they showed they built 3 versions of the widget and used it to show a UI all the way from a watch up to a television, and very much so that was fascinating. Just watching the different ways of basically, even the UI part of it was fascinating to me. But I mean, just the input devices and how those are different, and how you want to show things and stuff like that. So anyway, that's back on YouTube somewhere. So,
what was that? You reminded me? Was it Chris Sells that brought up that brought in was it Octo thing, Octo screen, or Octo device?
Oh yeah, to run on
all the things. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like my
Yep.
favorite
Solomon,
Flutter
we're
demo
getting
of
to
all
you soon.
time.
We're getting to you soon. Hang in there.
It's interesting that you talk about the TV interface, Simon, because yeah. Okay. There was a guy. Okay, you know what? Nope. We'll go back to the question.
We have plenty of time, probably right after this question, to
Let's look
continue
at the
our
question.
conversation.
Let's look at the question.
So let's see what have we got here.
Yeah. Let me pull it off.
Oh,
here.
so we're getting covered up here. Sorry, everyone on
I
screen.
need to transfer the above gym app to a full stack. What was it? To a full stack?
Oh, sorry.
Like
Sorry. Now I
backend?
took it out when you were trying to read it.
No, that's okay. I was just
Yeah. Oh, wants to turn it into
Full-
Flutter from some other foreign language.
Transfer the above gym app to
backend.
full stack Flutter for the back end. Okay, so this
Oh,
is
it is
this
Flutter.
is like a gym app. Like this is the front end, right? So we've got Flutter River Pod, Go Router, and the various screens, Vault Navbar.
What did he in the description at the top? What did it say? Some copy. I've coupled the main parts of the app into a single file.
This is the actual. This is actually the real
okay.
question here,
Yeah.
right? I need to utilize Dart full stack. Any tips? So I think the thing is, there's nothing about the app that really is going to change, right? You can look at all this. This is
Mhm.
fine, right? I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that works. Yeah.
Ew.
I would probably do that a different way.
Yeah.
So what I recommend here in regards to this is make a static const inside of the screen class for the path, use it and then use it in both places, right? And then you're also going to do an equality match, right? You can also you can change this builder to be a build page, and then you can have a page class, and then you can effectively get what the current you go router state of context or whatever, and it'll give you the current page, and that will give you which active index. Also, pop these in an array, and you can just say index of, and you've got your number out the back of it. This not this else if stuff, right? So, but anyway, we weren't here to kind of like critique the code necessarily. But yeah, this is so this is also something you want to get rid of as well. The explicit height size box on the nav bar. What you can do is wrap this in intrinsic height, and you'd probably be better off there. And same goes for this. Like, see, these are now repeated in a pattern. If you want, we can chuck this in the editor in a minute, and we can do a little bit of like I can do a fork for you and give you a feedback. But again, if you had an array of say pages, then these all go away, and then the index just goes into that and say go to this, index.
Yeah.
I see what you've got going on here. So we've got an API service, wherever that backend API is sitting. HTTP get, is it a 200? JSON decode it, otherwise throw an exception. Yeah.
Don't use string interpolation to build URLs.
True. Yeah. So this is actually, this should be URL pass base URL dot replace path products.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Otherwise,
Why, Randall?
Because you should watch my upcoming video on this that I've been dragging my feet for a month to create. Yes.
Okay.
Because now I can do it in DaVinci Resolve, or I could do it in Vids, or I could do it in Descript, and I'm torn now between I'm stymied because I have too many ways to do it.
So in all three, and then compare and contrast. Edit the video 3 times.
That would be a great waste of my time. Sure.
So there's actually constants for these, right? HTTP headers and content type dot JSON, I think it is. So they're already constants for these. But equally, at the moment, these are all static functions, right? So you really want an instance of your API service, right, where you can provide the base URL as a parameter, so you can override it. So if you're running a stage version of the backend or a live version of the backend, you can start a version of the app up in each different, pointing at each different backend. And then you just use your, Riverpod or whatever to get your instance of API service and call these functions. Another thing, obviously, depending on where you're calling these functions, So say you go to the product screen, you're calling get product all the time. Every time you go to the screen, it's calling that API. It's calling that API. If they're offline, boom, you don't get an error. You don't get any products listed on the screen, right? So there's an aspect here of, okay, let's have what we would call a repository, right? Something that a layer where you've got a sort of caching layer where, okay, here they are in memory. You can go between the screens. It doesn't have to re-request because you last requested within a certain period of time. So when the app starts up, you can get the products, and then that's it. You're just using them from memory from then on in, stuff like that. There's a bunch of beneficial things you can do. As I said, cache them to disk and stuff and load them. So there's some architectural things around that can change.
Yeah, I
same
would
for all of
likely
these API.
do a
really,
singleton
right?
there and do a service locator pattern for sure.
If you notice that as soon as you start repeating something, that's a sign that you need to make a function to do that piece of the code and then service out the parameters, right? So the HTTP delete, post, put, these are nice helpers, but to be honest, you want each time you call this is create an instance of HTTP client. So you kind of want to create an instance of HTTP client in your API service, and then and you can call the send function, and you can pass in post as the method, which means you can then sort of abstract this out. I can show that in a minute. But this is all fine. I mean, look, we're critiquing this quite closely, but to be honest, it works, right? Like at the end of the day, this is quite straightforward code. I mean, usually like, you've got like thousands and thousands of API calls and functions, right? So don't have to overly complicate things. Let's have a look here. So we've got home screen.
I mean, this works, and it's easy. Looks like it's easy to modify. It just won't scale because you're not taking advantage of the fact that you refactor things out to subroutines when you do it more than once.
So here's an example here. So each time you open up the app up on the home screen, it's going to call load data, which calls this API service, which means there's already a state which the app is in, which is a loading state every single time you open it up. You could have it already have the services, cached in there. So from the last time it loaded up, and it's immediately there on the screen. And then if it gets some services and they're different from the previous ones, it can go, oh, there's update services, tap here to reload the screen or something, right? There's other ways that you can approach the user interaction that would probably make it, I mean, this might as well be a web page at this point, right? And the app experience is one where you have access to the personal device, you have disk, you have all these things that you can store, that you don't have to keep loading each time, that they can be offline, they can be on a bad connection. These are all the advantages of an app that you're currently not taking advantage of, right?
Also, for exceptions, which I saw an example of earlier, watch my video, which I've just pasted the URL in the channel there.
Catch all exceptions, just do it. And just, yeah.
No, this is wrong. This is so wrong.
Somebody was asking about that.
Freaking me out.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So catching all exceptions is not necessarily a bad thing as long as it's restricted in its scope. But this is a higher level where you wouldn't want to do that, right? And then on top of that, you're also just dropping on the floor because you're not doing anything with the exception, right? So you're not even logging it, right? So
it's worse. It's worse than I thought it was. Ooh. Okay. Sorry.
But
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some interesting sizey things going on, sure.
Yeah, you're not supposed to practice catch and release with exceptions. There's the new phrase.
Catch and rethrow. Catch and rethrow.
Yes.
I mean, all of this is quite, Here's the kind of annoying thing that I find with the layouts is that when you do get these things where even the built-in widgets and a lot of them have a lot of the widgets from way back when, from pre-version 1, have a lot of width and height stuff in, and a lot of that's because just of the way that the rendering system was at that time, right? Whereas ideally you kind of want to ensure that whatever the size that you put in there is based off of whatever the content is, to make sure that you don't get into a situation where things are clipped. At this point, this is fine because you just got the logo and the logo is being sized, but you want to be especially careful of putting any sort of width and height around anything that has text in, because if a user changes their text font size, you can immediately start getting clipping and they can't see the text, or it wraps. They're going to get a single word on the screen or partial content, basically. So whenever you're testing your app, you need to make sure you test it with all of the different display sizes and font sizes in those options in the device settings, right? To make sure that on the smallest it looks okay and on the largest it looks okay. Then everything in between should be fine, right? Interesting. I'm going to tell you right now, it's probably not the right way to do that. I appreciate what you're trying to do here. Essentially, trying to clip this image. So you've got a width and a height, and then you've got a scale. Something is definitely wrong here in this picture.
Yes.
First of all, there's a scale. There's actually a scale that you can put on an image asset. Yeah. So that's one thing.
It's actually not clipping it. It's just offsetting it.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to put a kind of like how you have
the indicator. It's offsetting it left and right, which essentially clips it, right? Because
that's they've got clip behavior of none. So I'm saying it won't clip it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Right. I don't know where he's actually using that. That might just be.
I mean, if it's off the screen, it's clipped, obviously, but then why would you say clip none?
60.
Well, it looks more like an indicator, right?
I just got some.
There's 5 new emails kind of thing, and you want that offset and kind of off the image.
And I will say I'm a fan of make it work.
Oh yeah.
But when it's something that looks weird like that, then go figure out why now, and is there a better way to do it?
I mean, put getter in if you're going to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This whole scale thing has got me interested. I want to understand what that's about.
Where is it coming from?
I think this might just be an animation thing, from what I'm gathering here, because you get the scale coming to these, all these functions, and that scale is driven by. Where's the scale driven? I saw it. Scale. Okay, so this is responsive scale. Ugh. Okay. The whole idea of doing this is that you don't pass it down, right? So in each of these places, they should be getting their own scale from the Vault responsive side of things, if they're going to do that at all. This gets a bit narky passing parameters down the tree. Also, at this point, if you're doing functions that return widgets, this should probably be a widget itself, right? Because there's these parameters that get passed in. These are this like all these can be on the context, right? Anyway, let's go back and carry on, and then we'll run this in a second.
Every AI wants to return a function, use a function that returns a widget, and I'm constantly having to yell at it and be like, "No, please turn it into an actual widget."
Yep.
So we've got this services. Go back up. Where we got underscore services is what it loads. Bad.
Not that at all.
Bad. Naughty.
Yeah.
No dynamic.
API calls also were just returning the list dynamic from that. I'd prefer to have a class and have it actually be a class myself. But you got to be careful. But you do have to be careful there that missing things, for example, then would cause a different kind of error or stuff like that.
But that's the whole point, though, right?
Right.
I think that the point here is, where do you want? I think the question here is, it's more about. Okay, let me explain what this is about. It's like, where do you want your code to break, right? Now you want your, believe it or not, if there's a bug, you want your code to crash and break, right? Or you at least want it to report that crash, and so you can find it. Otherwise, you're sitting back thinking everything's hunky-dory, and about 50% of your audience is having this crash, and you don't know about it. That's the worst case you want to be in, right? You need to know when something's wrong, right? Now, at the moment, the way this is going to work right now in terms of the code base is it accepts everything from the server and says, oh, it's all good. It's all fine, right? And then when it gets down to the actual UI and actually presenting it on the screen, what's going to happen is down here, let's say you rename this or one of these parameters, or you removed them, it'll crash here in displaying this card, right? And since there's no maybe handling of what happens there, you're just going to get like a gray box on the screen, like. So there's, well, other such things, right?
And don't be afraid of CodeGen to handle this stuff. I mean, it works really well. You can be more involved and just use like the JSON libraries directly, or you can use something like Freezed or whatever to get your code stuff.
So this get static data. I've got no problem with having static data. There's no point if it's static. There's no point. Every time this function runs, it generates this, right? It's returning a list.
Should be a const.
So it's the best thing to do is pull this out a bit of const. But even then, there's other things you can do where have it ship with this, and then when the app starts up, it calls a config endpoint and can pull down new data, right?
Okay, but I believe he's using this for if his API call failed.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah,
in the try catch that we were talking about.
Yeah. So I agree with that, exactly what you said, and it's worth knowing it. Well, I'm not as worried about it based on where it is.
So this already comes back to what I was saying earlier, where what you actually want to do, you ship your app with the default set of services that gets stored on disk. It starts off as an asset, store it on disk. Then you're displaying that. Then you call your get services. It updates that. If it fails, well, you've got the one that you had previously, and that way, the last successful call to get services is what you're displaying on the screen, right? Rather than one time you had this thing, and next time you launched the app, suddenly you got this default thing that was, I don't know where that came from, right?
That's a great point.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes figuring out how to fail gracefully is pretty important.
And we've got an admin screen. Is so true. Okay.
And you kind of hinted at it a little bit before, but by doing the basically the static methods to the class to make the API calls, you remove any of that ability to do make it harder to have it be configurable, testable, things like that. But hey, you claim to be a beginner Flutter.
Also, just to say thank you so much for submitting this. There's not a judgment on you. This is all feedback, right? Don't feel like you should have known this already or anything like that. Like this time, we've got the whole. I don't know. We've probably got 100 years here on the, all together of like experience or something, right? Like
you're definitely on a journey, and you've taken multiple steps.
Yes.
Yeah.
How's that?
And I wish my first Flutter programmer looked this good.
Or that we had these kind of people around to give us advice when we started Flutter.
That's a good point too. That's a good point too.
Shall we? I mean, we can spend the show doing some refactoring of this if we've all got some feedback we want to put into
he asked for it, so I mean,
he says thanks. He appreciates feedback. He's getting a lot out of it.
Cool.
So,
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So I think that the problem here is that we're not going to be able to run this effectively without a back-end API, right?
Well,
obviously just fake one.
Yeah.
mock an interface, right? So it's not the end of the world, but so this is anyway. So here again, we've got type toggle, and we're using a boolean to toggle in service and product. Ideally, that this can run you into some problems, right? Because as soon as you start adding a field, now you've got to refactor it. What you probably want to do here in this situation is actually have a enum for these two things. This description goes into the actual enum of the extra field, and then your set state is actually just picking out which enum is the current tab you're on or whatever this is, right? Yeah, because then basically what you've got going on up here is when you press the submit button, you go, oh, if they selected service, then add in category strength. All right, otherwise it's a product, so we're going to add in price, right? And that this doesn't make much sense right now, but given if you had an enum and said, okay, if the selected type is service, then add the category and do this thing, right? But yeah, it's quite straightforward. Should we?
The original question was how he wants to have. I mean, he said Flutter, but I mean, he wants to have like a full stack kind of experience. So,
well, I mean, he's obviously got. Please tell us. Sorry, I forgot who the submitter was.
Solomon.
Solomon.
Oh, yes, a long time viewer. Yeah, so Solomon. Yeah, it's probably looks of it has already got like some sort of API running, but we could spin something up really quickly and throw it in there.
Yeah.
That's not a problem at all. All right, if we're interested in doing this and no one's got anything else better, have we got more questions? Looks like
we have one more. We have one more question in the chat here.
Let's answer some questions and then we'll get
back to this
in the editor and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So here's the second question from our second requester. Abdullah something or other says, I have a question. I'm a junior Flutter developer, and I joined this startup, and when I tried to build their website with WASM, I got many errors. Is migrating to WASM only required from front end?
Yes, and?
I'm not sure what that.
Or yes, but I guess maybe I don't know. You're supposed to yes.
I mean, it's an interesting one, right? Like the website's obviously in multiple sections, right? Website is normally not just like the front end inside the browser. It's normally what goes on in the back end as well, right? On the server side, not knowing how it's put together, I don't know. But WASM is a thing that normally only exists in the front end browser stuff, right? You can run Node.js WASM stuff. That's something else entirely. If they're running their code and they built it in Dart and you're trying to compile for WASM, then I suspect it's a Dart backend and a JavaScript / Dart front end, So,
well, also it's worth pointing out the fact that your packages have to be WASM compatible. And some, I mean, most modern good ones are going to be, but that's always a possibility. Which is one of the reasons why you need to be careful what packages you choose. It'd be very purposeful about that.
Isn't WASM still experimental for Flutter?
I don't know that it is for certain browsers, but it's also not available on every browser.
Right.
Yeah. Because you have to have the WASM GC.
Got it.
Yeah,
I've had really interesting experiences using WASM. I have even the same browsers on different operating systems behave differently with it. And it is, I've had radically different performance depending, even on the same hardware, just depending on the configuration. I see the advantages of using it, but my curiosity would be, if you don't need it and your application runs fine without it, I would probably default to not using it right now. That's just me.
Right. What kind of gym are we?
I mean, I guess otherwise you could specifically tell us like what kind of, like, give us an example of the error.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, without knowing what the actual errors are, it's hard to diagnose.
Yeah.
Right. Where are we?
That's pretty much our questions.
Yep.
I think that I think I'm going to go ahead and drop off a few minutes early then. Solomon, great job. So yeah. These guys take good care of you, and I'm going to get back to the day job. So
bye, Danielle.
All right.
See, I'm out next week. I will not be here next week.
Oh, you and Randall.
And neither will I. Yeah. So
Oh no.
it's going to be slim.
Right. See you
We'll
later.
have to find the Randall replacement. and have a
No,
cardboard
there's
cut.
no replacement. No, but before they
AI Randall.
AI Randall bot.
AI
for the
Randall.
previous shows.
How do you know I'm
Randall.
not already a bot? Come on.
Uh,
How do you know? I don't think there's any way to actually know.
I don't know that an AI would come up with good of dad jokes, is what you do, Randall.
Oh.
That's what I'm gonna say.
That's just a new module that got installed. That's all.
Oh, yeah, the AI, the dad jokes.
Yeah.
Because I did
Oh, we just got
before
another
a year
cue in.
ago. That was a
We
dad.
got we did get a question, but I think the answer to that is to point them to the other show.
Oh, it's an AI question. Let's see here. More
that's
advanced-
all.
Yeah, the AI show, which was we taped yesterday for some version of taping. Yes, right. Yeah, that's also on this very same channel. So just stay subscribed, and so hit the subscribe button, and you'll get notifications about when we do the AI show. So please pay attention to that.
Press the like button. Everyone, press the like button right now.
Yeah, like button and everything.
Like and
Right.
subscribe.
Like and subscribe, guys. Like and
Press
subscribe.
all the things. Touch all the things. Make everything go. No, that one
If this-
too. Yes, go.
If this video gets 10,000 likes, I'll dump a bucket of ice over my head, guys.
Yes.
So, that's-
And if it gets 20,000, I'll do a bucket of ice over your head. That works nicely. Yeah.
Oh.
We do have a question. I have a question on pursuing Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Everyone is saying it will be finished in the future, etc. That's why I have fear in my heart. It's not going to be finished.
No.
It's just going to be
No.
different.
Yep.
Yes.
I think I think there's an interesting thing that's going on right now, which is we know that there's less hiring of juniors, right, in the industry because AI is taking that spot, which means it's harder to get into the sector.
Right.
But then, like, there's a different mindset in that you're not trying to make the code; you're trying to command the AI to make the code, right?
Yeah.
So it's about getting experience doing that, getting experience using AI utilities to make the code,
Yeah.
right? And then once you put that down and say and then your projects on GitHub, which is like your portfolio, says I did this with AI, did this with AI, made this with AI, cool code.
Yep.
I did I don't know, I created a bunch of roles and did all this stuff. Now you've been employed because you know how to use AI, right? You're not being in necessarily as a junior. Does that make sense?
I think what you're gonna learn earlier, I believe, is good software engineering practices, like having plans and having testable components and having all. So what this will force the beginners and juniors to actually do what the seniors already were trying to get them to do, because they have to in order to get anything that's not gobbledygook out of AI.
Yeah. Yep.
It reminds me of some of the rules that I put in some of the AI stuff I've used recently, and basically the rules are basically they're just rules that every developer should follow. Here's how to be a good developer, basically.
Right.
I'm gonna find it and we can bring it up in a minute. Yeah, it's that kind of just don't be an idiot.
Here's the big question that I would like to ask. Is, do we think that 10 years from now, people are no longer going to be developing things with computers and technology as a whole? That's a ludicrous assertion.
Yeah.
That is a ludicrous assertion that things aren't going to be built. The question is, how are we going to be building those things? That's it. Like, what are the tools that we are going to be using to build those things? And I don't think that your computer science degree is going to be a waste. I think that particularly in the world of AI, having people who understand the dark magic, as it were, is more important than ever. As Randall, you said something last show that I've repeated to like 10 people. And that is that AI is an accelerator. It can accelerate you towards your goal super fast, or it can accelerate you to tech debt faster than ever. And your computer science degree is going to give you the knowledge and the insight to be able to identify which direction the car is going, and that's the valuable skill for the future.
The thing is to use the AI to learn, as much as you can, not to do it for you, right? Too many people are trying to make it do, go build me this app, and it gives them something, and the app doesn't work, and they don't know how to fix it because they never learned how to actually code and the proper, about data structures and all those things that you're learning by taking the computer science degree, right? And learning that stuff and learning, the ins and outs of Dart and stuff in the case of Flutter. And then they're just not doing that, right? They think, oh, I'm just going to go and tell the AI to build what I want it to build, and it's going to build it and it's going to work. And then when they find out it doesn't work, they don't know what to do. And that's where it's great to use it to do things, but try and learn from it, right? Look at what it's doing, figure out why it's not working, how to fix it. Don't just go looking for help.
That's a great point, because we keep talking about AI replacing effort, but I tell you, I have learned more by customized instructions from AI, where I say, I want to know all the nuances, like we're talking about the TMDB project coming forward. Or did we do that on screen? I forgot if that was before the stream.
Yeah. No, I think we're on stream.
Oh, right, because we were talking about the upcoming show that you and I are doing, but it's like, it would be great for me, before I actually start to think about that, to go in and say, go look at the TMDB API. Well, that's a lot of letters to say in a row. The TMDB API, and give me some general code snippets of how I would be accessing this, and what variances does it have, because it can do all that research. Again, it's just a giant autocompleter, I know that, but it can do all this research, and give me a customized training. And I think a lot of people are overlooking this, because this will move you from beginner to junior, possibly even to senior, if you keep sticking with learn it first, then tell it to do it.
Here's the best advice I can give someone, because I've given this a few times, and that is, be someone who can solve hard problems with whatever tools that you have. Be someone who can solve hard problems. Build hard, interesting things, solve hard problems. If you are the type of person that can do that, it doesn't matter what tools you're using. That is the thing that is going to put you in demand the most in the future. And if you being someone who just generates AI slop is not someone who's solving hard problems. Do the hard thing. And the hard thing is getting your comp sci degree. The hard thing is going above and beyond your comp sci degree and using the skills to do and solve hard things. The harder these problems that you solve, the more valuable you're going to be. And what AI has done is it has made the hard things easy and the impossible things hard. So that's what I got for you.
Yep. And we do have one more question, even though it wasn't marked with a Q. Please mark your question with a Q. Is AI will be finished full stack web development? I think we just answered that.
Yeah, so. It's the same answer, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I think you also asked
into the actual thing
earlier. Let's see. Yeah, there's one more question here earlier that I missed marking. Oh, it had Q on it. Let's see.
No, that's the one that we already answered.
Yeah, we did that one.
That was the first one. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Mark that. Mark that.
Meanwhile, Simon has completely rewritten Solomon's code.
Right.
Yeah, Solomon. Simon's going to
open
background.
It up here. He's going to open it up. It's going to be completely different.
We have our own Simon AI, and it's been acting. Yes.
Right.
Our Simon agent has been running in the background. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. We can move to live coding. While we're doing that transition, I saw a long time ago an article about. Oh, we're already there. Never mind. Back to live coding, guys. I saw an article or video a long time ago about a guy who, and this is like going back to Simon's thing earlier in the show about he's trying to create a TV interface using Plex. And essentially, he recreated the experience of 80s and 90s television on a Raspberry Pi. And he had all these videos of like different TV shows, and it generates programming in the background. So if you turn this box on at 8 a.m. on a Saturday, you're going to get cartoons and all the things. And like, he was a lower level C++ guy. And he's like, the hardest part of this whole thing was designing the program guide, because he wanted a thing where you would hit the guide button on the remote and then it would show everything that's currently playing. And I'm looking at this, and the thing that I kept thinking the entire time is this entire project could have been easily accomplished with Flutter in half the time. Most especially the guide. But this
Yeah.
entire project, if like I'm not dissing your C++ skills at all, man. Like I think that that's huge. But this entire project using Dart and Flutter, like could have been done in a fraction of the effort that it took him to do this. So anyway, Simon's TV project reminded me that I don't know how similar or dissimilar it is to what he was working on. But
I think I've got an analogy for that. Is that I have a 2002 Z28, and it has 6-speed manual gears. And although I really sort of, shifting is sort of automatic for me, it still takes away one hand most of the time. Because I have to keep that hand on the gear shift almost the entire drive. It's basically my entire thing is 10 in gear. It's not 10 and 2. There's no way I've had my hands up like that ever when I'm driving. It's always 10 in gear. And so the thing is, when you then introduce a big gulp, you'll run out of hands, because the big gulp doesn't fit in the small cup holder that they have, because back in the day in 2002, cups were this big, not this big.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't sit. So I can't drink a big gulp while I'm in my manual car. So I think someday it would be nice to have an automatic, and maybe even then a self-driving car, so that I could just kind of, do my taxes, apropos for today, do my taxes while I'm driving. Yeah.
Simon Solomon says he can share the other files in a gist if you want.
Yeah, if you want to.
But can he share it in a Jiffy? It's got to be both a gist and a Jiffy.
In a gist and a Jiffy?
That's how we know it's not an AI.
And we're not talking about the peanut butter either.
That'd be the GIF.
Is it a GIF?
Which is not the image. Not the image. Yes.
I'll be right back. I'm going to stop getting the show off track. I'll be right back, guys, in a minute, and then I want to see what someone's doing with this code.
All right.
He'll be back in the Jiffy.
Yes.
Yes, I'll be back in the Jiffy.
Yes. All right. Or Giphy.
So in Dart, constructors always go first.
Yes.
Despite the fact that it will let you put them after, don't do it.
Yes.
Yeah, if you update the gist, I'll take a look at that in a second. Also the Claude coding I was talking about just a minute ago, I'll post a link to this in the chat. These are great rules. So it's just trade-off. These guidelines are biased towards caution over speed. For trivial tasks, use judgment. Think before coding. Don't assume. Don't hide confusion. Surface trade-offs. Before implementing, state your assumptions explicitly. If uncertain, ask. If multiple interpretations exist, present them. Don't pick silently. If a simpler approach exists, say so. Push back when warranted. If something is unclear, stop. Name what's confusing and ask. Simplicity first. Minimal code that solves the problem. Nothing speculative. No features beyond what is asked. No abstractions for single-use code. No flexibility or configurability that wasn't requested. No error handling for impossible scenarios. If you write 200 lines and it could be 50, rewrite it. Ask yourself, what would a senior engineer say? Would a senior engineer say this is overcomplicated? If yes, simplify. Surgical changes. Touch only what you must. Clean up your own mess. Don't improve adjacent code comments or formatting. Don't refactor things that aren't broken. Match existing styles, even if you do it differently. If you notice unrelated dead code, mention it. Don't delete it. When your changes create orphans, remove imports, variables, and functions that your changes made unused. Don't remove pre-existing dead code unless asked. The text, every changed line should trace directly to the user's request, right? And goal-driven execution, define success criteria, loop until verified, and add validation, fix a bug, refactor. There's some stuff in here, but that's it. But this is just good coding practices, right? Like these are what every developer should just be following, right? When you're working on like a large code base of some pre-existing stuff, this is just definitely like standard, right? Yep. Surgical changes is like that's what you need to make, right? Yep. Yes, first. Like this again, no flexibility configuring that wasn't requested, no abstractions for single-use code. Don't do features beyond what is asked. This is again standard best coding practices, right? Like
So we're not the AI show, but for those who
Right.
might not know, how would they use this, Simon?
So you can, like this, inside of your repository, you can just add a claude.md file, pop that's in there, and then Claude Code will find this file and use it as its rules. Other AI systems will have their own set of rules. They're normally markdown files, whatever they want to be called. I think there's isn't it AI? It's agent.md as well. It's a generic one.
Agents.md, I think.
Agent.md,
It might be
yeah.
S optional. S is optional, apparently.
But again, it's just, yeah, your coding tool will tell you where you put guidelines and rules, and then you just pop this in there, and you can look at the raw, just copy these and pop them in there, and that's it. It's that simple, really.
Yep.
Right.
I'll add to that.
We have a new gist.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I was giving
I'll
some new
add to that the Gemini CLI command line has an extension for Dart that includes Dart and Flutter specific skills. So that's pretty handy. So if you're using Gemini CLI, you can get access to that. And I've copied those same skills over to anti-gravity. It doesn't come in the same way, but at least I can copy it manually. Also, I'm just pasting the URL now for this. This is a GitHub repo of Google's internal development guidelines implemented as skills. So it has everything from concept to testing to security to everything. So I've been playing with that for some new projects. I haven't had enough experience yet to really say this is super, this is horrible. But anything out of Google already, it's had a chance to work with these things more longer than we have. That would be something that worth looking into. So check that out. And that's generic. That's not just Flutter and Dart. That's just generic programming, software engineering skills. So
Claude Code has a new feature that just burns through tokens.
Yay!
It does a really good
apparently,
job.
Apparently, the latest version of that, they magically added 20,000 tokens to every request or something. I was like,
nice.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Nice.
So essentially what it does is after you put in your prompt, it's like, can I show you what I'm thinking about building? And then it opens up a web browser and it shows you like 3 or 4 mock-ups of like what it could do based upon your request. And then you select like based on the mock-ups what you want to do. And then it writes out a whole plan, an implementation plan. And then after you read through and approve the implementation plan, then it builds it. It takes forever. It burns through a lot of tokens. It does halfway decent results.
Cool. All right. Again, this is not the AI show. Everybody come back Tuesday.
I know.
Ask your AI questions on Tuesday. We need more people watching that show too. So that's good.
Ask your AI what show you should be watching.
Yes. And it better come up us. If not, let's see. Training data cut off in 1994.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, he's copying and pasting. Do we want to answer Tobias's new question?
The other AI question?
Yeah. No, the Claude Code one.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah. I'm using anti-gravity because I'm a Google developer expert, so I kind of bias towards Google products. So that I'll typically
been a VS Code, although I've been using anti-gravity a bunch more lately, which is VS Code just in a new wrapper with other stuff in it. So yeah.
Right.
I use Claude Code at the beginning of a project when I'm trying to establish patterns, because if I tell it what patterns to establish, it's relatively decent at doing them. And then for ongoing development on top of that base, I usually switch over to Cursor. I have had really good luck with that. Not messed around much with anti-gravity, so I can't do a comparison between anti-gravity and Cursor, but I fell in love with Cursor and never switched. But also I probably should look at anti-gravity because I'm now paying Cursor $60 a month. Don't tell Mrs. Anir.
All right.
Do you know, there's a reason why they had a revenue of like 30 billion so far this year or something like that last month?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's insane.
Also, they say they're not profits to everyone that knows. They're probably negative still, right? Like,
I will say at work at the place that I'm not allowed to disclose, we are allowed to use the JetBrains AI, and It's not terrible, guys. It's not cursor. I would say it's maybe 85% of what cursor is, but it's good enough. And it does surprisingly decent if you're an IntelliJ with Flutter coding. I was impressed.
And to answer this question, just dig into that repo and read. It's English. So it'll tell you, it actually has in there that there's a sequence of steps for the 11 steps. So, there are 11 sort of top level commands, and then those drill down to something like 19 skills that gets inserted into your stack. Why are you laughing at me?
There are steps to get to the steps to get to the steps.
Yeah, that's
your
true.
phrase, it's English.
It's
just
English.
Cracked me up.
Read it.
It's English.
Yeah, it's a bunch of readmes, essentially. Yes.
Dump them all into Claude, ask them to make a concise summary of it, and then take that summary, take it over to Gemini, ask it for an even more concise summary, and then you can read it.
Actually, once you install this, you can ask Gemini about the overall process, because it has that as its top level file for the skill. So it can answer questions about that specifically already. So yeah. Anyway, have fun. That's enough of that. No more AI show stuff. All right. No more AI stuff. This is the non-AI show. We're trying to keep it that way. Every show ends up having some AI now because AI is everywhere.
Because it's an inevitable. AI is Thanos. It is inevitable.
Speaking of which, the announcement just came out and it's public, so I can describe it. Gemini for desktop Mac just came out, which is basically the gemini.google.com, but it can also observe things on your screen and stuff. You can share a live screen with it and chat with it.
Nice.
Which is something you couldn't do
That's what Microsoft did, wasn't it?
Yeah, Copilot did that.
God, AI is monitoring my screen.
Yeah, Copilot did that a while ago. But yeah.
And then I had to take it out.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I haven't had a chance to play with it. I just downloaded it and I launched it, so make sure that it works. So, and it needs a Google login, of course. So, because it's tied, your AI plan is tied to your Google login.
Yep.
So it's the same thing as the online Gemini.google.com and also the apps for iOS and Android. Same exact thing.
Claude
probably means you can do live with that too. That'd be fun. Yeah.
So Simon, do you want to tell us what you're doing? You've just been coding away as we're all talking about anything but what's on the screen right now. What's up?
Yeah, what's on the screen? Describe what's on the screen.
He's finishing getting it fixed up with the new files. So
what I've been doing right now is reconstructing the application based on what was originally in there. So this is there's an animation package being used, and I don't know which one. Maybe.
He said for the images you can use any random image, but
yeah, that's all right. We got images. Let's animation configuration to staggered list. What is that? Did the original have a go around? No, I don't know what that is.
There's no animation package.
That's not what it is. And then is this Q? Was this part of Q? I feel like it might be, but maybe I'm just add Q anyway. No, indexing not liking. What we can do is
staggered animations.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's Flutter staggered animations is the package.
Flutter staggered
animations, yeah.
Like that? Oh, you can't see that.
I can't see it, but underscores in between each word. Yeah.
Let's see what happened. Does it add it? Let's have a look. Yay. Okay. That's it. Was that AI to the rescue? Was it?
Just a web search, but yeah.
Right. All right. So everyone, let's see. Right. So what we now got is I've broken the original app back up into all these separate files, and organized as such. We've got our main entry point, just the main entry point. That loads up the Vault app. The Vault app can then access the theme and router to provide the top level. And we've got those broken out into, so we've got our router here, our Go router, the theme, all the various theme parameters are all stored in here. And then finally, each one of the router provides access to each one of the screens wrapped in the main scaffold. The main scaffold is providing our bottom navigation bar and access to that. And then we have each of our screens is loaded into a separate file. Obviously, we've got some screens that we don't actually have content for. It's fine for now. We're not trying to build content here. And then we've got some various things that have been displayed, like vault card, glass box, logo, whatever it is. So we'll go through. I think there's two things here, right? One is the request was really about full stack and what we do with the server. So we could provide a different entry point for a server, and we could sort of get it up and running. And I think we're going to need to do that anyway, because the app does actually have an API. So I think that there's an aspect here which is we want to
lock the server, right?
Be able to have a what's the word?
Testing harness, mocking test.
Yeah, some sort of mocking harness. So what we could just run as local server, right? So what I'm going to do here, rather than doing a mock, I'm going to see what AI can make of this, right? This is so we're going to give it the client side API here, and we're going to ask it to examine. Well, first we'll say examine. So the thing is, I've got my project.
Come on, good, bad, and ugly.
No. Because my project, this is like this isn't just this project. There's a bunch of shit.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give it specifics.
So the first thing is, I'm going to change that context. Can I? I think I've got this set up differently. I'm not going to change it right now. I have created a sub project.
Lucas says try out Relic for the back end. Nice.
Yeah, it could do, right. Subdirectory.
I think Lucas is biased.
libgym, yeah. In libgym. I only want to modify and work with files in this directory, right? Is that big enough, the font on?
Big enough for me.
Yeah, I can read it. And I've got a super tiny screen that I'm looking at it on my teleprompter. So
and then we'll say, I would like to examine the project.
Right, Lucas. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not biased. No.
Not biased in the slightest. Lazy. Lazy is the best kind of programmer, though. That's what I've learned over the years.
Truly, actually, yes.
It's kept me out of like doing stuff by brute force more than 3 times in a row. Because at that point, I go, "There's got to be a better way." Every time 3 is about the magic threshold. As soon as I hit 3, it's like there's something I'm doing here that doesn't belong. Something here that I can automate.
Mm-hmm.
So perfect. Now I have a complete understanding of your Vault Kinetic Gym Fitness app sub-project. Let me summarize what I found. There you go.
Look at that.
High fitness, blah, 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 blah. You got this. Backend is fast API running on localhost 5000. Like he did actually say he found it with fast. Anyway,
no, he did in the comments say that it was originally on Flask and he wants to know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's interesting they picked it up on Flask.
It figured that out. Yeah.
Anyway,
wow.
So it's that's probably the default port 5000 or something like that. Anyway, so yeah, great. It's understood it. Empty placeholders. Yeah, when I'm ready to have make some modifications sub project, what would you like me to work on? The empty screens, blah blah blah.
All of it. Ship it.
Yeah, all of it. So I
finish him.
Okay. Server.dart file. I would like you to write Right.
With a W. With a W. Yes.
Simple
Give
shell
lots rights for a simple server.
Dart shell based
Oh,
API matches the client API interface used in API.dart. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, but Tobias, who's grandma?
Yeah. And you'll run out of tokens just as you're about to finish.
Right. Yeah. Your tokens will refresh in 30 days.
Yes. Your tokens will refresh upon notification of being terminated on your contract.
Or you can pay us this large amount to get more tokens.
Yes. Right. You could pay us enough to keep the lights on. Pay us for 5 minutes of water cooling for one of the TPUs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
it's thinking. It's thinking
Well,
quite a lot, actually.
So while it's thinking,
there we go.
I'm going to
Oh,
use.
look at this.
Oh,
What's
let's
it
see
come
what
up
we
with?
got.
What's it come up with?
It's got code.
In-memory data store. It's made a bloody data store.
Wow.
Oh my god, what has it done? Right.
Oh, it's mocking it. Yes.
Nice. Look at that. Lovely. Add service.
Wow.
Update service, product. Vault API.
I'm
server.
resigning. I'm turning my card in. I'm going home. You don't need me anymore. You don't need people like us anymore. You just got your fancy schmancy prompt box. I hope you're happy when your prompt box stops working.
This is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. Thanks very much,
Yeah,
AI.
see?
Yeah.
It's like we have our own Santa Claus now.
Oh, look, he's even added the core.
I have.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Can I have one, Santa? I've been good.
Looking middleware.
Logging middleware. I don't even do that. Yeah.
That. Right.
It's got
run it.
it's got print statements that describe it. Yes. Ship it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is too
running.
easy.
So
This is why the AI show's only a half hour instead of 2 hours, because we just get it done in the first 10 minutes.
Well, that's a really great example of some AI work in there, right? Okay, let's do. I'm going to do desktop app for running this because it's running a local host, the servers. So let's see if it will run that, and then we'll won't bother with the Android.
I'm going to use that phrase more often now. Your prompt box. You kids and your fancy prompt boxes.
Lucas thinks we should be censored.
In what way?
I don't know.
Along what axis? Are we saying bad words? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Oh, look.
Hey, look at that.
Oh, that looks awesome.
The electric pulse. Whoa. High intensity beats.
Bar. We got navigation.
Wow. It doesn't do anything. They don't navigate.
Prompt box reminds me of IT Crowd.
Yeah, right.
This box contains the whole internet.
Yes, right.
Have you turned it off and back on again?
Yes.
So the question here
Crowd was a good reflection for us. Yes, it's true.
We're getting requests. Oh, sorry, our heads are in the way. Let's
get our heads out of the way. That's an important step in anything we do. Get your head out of the way. You out of here.
I wish I could stick around, but yeah, I've got to head out. So I will definitely watch the end of this later, though. See where it goes.
And then there were 3. Yes.
And hopefully Lucas doesn't lose his job over it. So
yeah, really.
So services. So yeah, I mean, like admin. Okay, here's our admin. System status, operational sync, database nodes.
Very nice green.
Pass was mentioned. Okay. Service, we can add services.
Ooh, and gradient. It had a gradient there. Ooh, gradients.
Oh, on the bottom, yeah.
We need some more gradients.
Let's make this like that. There you go. That's probably easier. What I don't see at the moment is nothing on this screen, which is interesting because I was expecting some content to be there. So let's go see what's going on with our. Oh, no, it's the home screen. Home screen. I had to scroll down. That's what it was. Okay, well, there's bad design, right? Because I had it like that, and I didn't know I could scroll that.
Yeah, really. It should have been an arrow pointing downwards.
No, this is the aspect ratio thing, right? It's meant for phone.
Yeah.
And we're opening up as a tablet, right? So,
No.
okay, so there we go. So we got these. Oh, they're being cut off. Yeah.
I'm gonna lose my job if my boss sees this.
Right. Give me 1 second, and I'll be right back, guys.
Uh-oh.
Simon, did you intentionally turn your camera off?
I think he's gone for a second. He said something about I'll be right back, but it was quick. So we just have to chat amongst ourselves as if we can possibly do that. What will we ever say, given an opportunity to speak to dozens or maybe even hundreds of people live?
So, Randall, you shove anything cool in your prompt box recently?
I believe that's a very personal question.
That's what, or better yet, I'm going to I'm going to make that my insult. Shut your prompt box.
I love it. That's great. That's a great use for that.
Bad vibe coders. Shut your prompt box.
Yes. Yeah. And I agree, Lucas. The UI, I just, the gradient, the green color, I like those. I don't know why I like them as much as I do, but it's a good color, especially for something that's about working out, workout apps or a dime a dozen. So anything that makes it sort of stand out and motivate me. I mean, my Fitbit says occasionally you could do some more steps, but it doesn't really grab me by the throat and make me do that. So
yeah, I like that. I like the design.
Yeah,
it requires some gamification, so you get to force you into doing your workout.
Right. My Fitbit steps are an accidental byproduct of my day. I mean, I can always tell when it's been an airport day because it goes from 2,000 steps up to 10,000 steps for an airport day, and then back to 2,000 the next day.
So if we had a service in, say, Randall stuff.
What am I stuffing?
Oh, look, added Randall stuff.
Oh, nice.
Okay, cool. And then what is displayed in the home screen services, right? So the thing is, this obviously is calling the API, but I don't see Randall unless this is scroll. Does this scroll? There you are.
Side scroll. Look at that. Randall stuff. I'm part of the show. I'm part of the furniture.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that to side scroll, right?
Yeah,
this comes back to what we were talking about the other stream. So let me go back. Let's make some improvements, right? This is the whole point, right? So let's make.
Why are scrollable regions not showing their scroll bars?
Because he's chosen not to do that, I guess.
Yeah, because I think that would be the first clue. If I saw scroll bars on the side of the screen, I would know I should scroll.
Interesting. Anyway,
how did he scroll with?
There's a scroll bar here because there's more content being shown than that. I think the layout here needs a little bit of love, right? But let's put that to one side for a second. We know the API is working, brilliant, and the app's working. Now we can make the actual change we went through before, right? So let's just fix up a little bit here. So we've got services. So there's some display stuff going on in here. I mean, we've kind of just answered a question, by the way, with like an A. I mean, look, like it is, obviously this is thrown together with AI and it's not perfect and it's, quick and nasty, right? But in essence, this isn't too far from what you might do, right? Like you just would change this to use the PG SQL, MySQL, whatever it is, API and access your database and whatnot, right? Anyway, but we can come back to that later. I think happy to throw you that your way, Solomon, and you can take that. But I think let's make some improvements to to the app itself, right? So we talked about the navigation and improving that. Let's go top down, shall we? Let's go top down. So Bolt app, blah, 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 blah. We've got our theme, which I think is actually fine. I mean, like, you know, you've got your static cons, you got your theme. You can obviously there's lots of ways of doing theming, but this is just as good as any, I think. The router is the next thing. I think that this is where it kind of falls a little bit short at the moment. So let's assume we've got so let's do this. Let's do let me do the final const top level routes, right? And in here we're going to have a route name, I guess. Do we actually display them anyway? Let's have a look. Let's go to our nav bar. Yeah, so all of this, right? So we got the icon. We can put icon data in there. This index doesn't need to be there. So we'll put them in that same order. Right? Home services, sharp contact admin. So we'll have see if the AI can work it out. Home services, shop contact admin, right? Now we can actually expand upon this. So as I was saying earlier, we've got so what we've got here is just an array of records, right? We can obviously name have these all sort of named records as well. Have like path, and then follow this up with like title or something like that. And we have icon. Bring those in a second. And then we probably want a builder in here as well. Yeah, we'll bring those widgets in a second. Now we can't have this const. If we're going to put builders in, they can't be const because though it works, so they have to be final. So let's bring over the icons. So we've got home field. It's not, it's icons. Put in the center. Shop. Admin panel settings. Right. Right. Cool. So what else do we want in here? So we were talking about this before, having the path where it is. We can do a couple of different things here, but I think suffice to say, it can be nicer to move. I mean, you can do this a lot of different ways, right? So I can provide. I've got effectively I can put the constructor in here if these are just constructors, and use the unnamed constructor, and we can just call this, builder's fine, whatever you want to call it, right? So now top level routes, this whole thing here ends up being a core route, top level routes. See if we can figure it out for me. So that has essentially achieved everything you had there already, right? Initial location. So this is kind of where this whole thing comes back in. So what I would probably do in my situation is have a route name like this. and then thanks AI. This is what I like as well. That it depends on the AI that you're using, but like code completion has gone like to the next level, right? Like it's basically helping you along
when it does.
when it does, right?
I still have most of my auto completion turned off because I found that most often its first guess was often right, but wrong.
And I found that with most of the AI service I've used, the only one this one I'm using right now is Augment Code.
Yeah,
it's next to none. So much better.
Yeah.
Right, so now we've got top level routes.
I haven't tried auto completion for probably a year. I should probably start doing that.
Well, maybe it's worth trying again.
Typing code. I don't like typing code anymore. I like typing instructions.
Right, so now we've got our sort of top level routes. We can go back to our nav here, and we can do the same thing here, right? So the same before. Final. Right, you don't need index. I mean, you can put index in there right now, at least make it.
That's just so cool with records, being able to do that.
Yeah, I remember the times when you couldn't do that, and it was horrible.
Oh, so much harder. You had to like actually write the expression. Oh, back in the day. You kids don't know how lucky you have. We have records. Records changed. It was night and day.
When I was your age,
our fingers used to cramp typing those index expressions. Now it's just dot indexed. You kids, you'll never know the pain that we suffered leading up to this point. See, getting older, I can do that voice so much more natural now. And it doesn't look out of place when I was a kid.
So let's take this a step further. All right, so what we've got now, if I reload, it's exactly the same. Yay, it works. So
yay, it's good to make no external breakage, not necessarily progress, but at least no breakage.
So let's okay. So back to router here. Okay, so we've got a top level route. This made sense to quickly sort of smash this out, but then again, what we're seeing here is a records, right? It's worked nicely to group these fields together, but they don't allow us to atomically talk about this item, right? Like I could name these as static variables, like I can access them, but
enum with properties.
I know,
enum with properties.
That's what I'm trying to explain.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I cut right to the chase. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So yeah.
We ruined your training style. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Right. No, you're not sorry. No.
Yes, it's true. I'm not. I was just thinking ahead. Look how easy he's doing that. Oh my goodness. I would never I would be cutting and pasting like crazy.
Same.
He's just going right in there
and
making those cons. Did that autocomplete just to that already? That was cool.
Yeah.
Wow. I admire your autocomplete, sir.
This is what I thought was going to happen here. So this is the tragedy of one of the tragedies of Dart right now, and that is you can't. So anything that's an enum has to be const. and references to functions are not const. So so annoyingly, and now this is in the roadmap. They have been talking about this, right? So they are providing more better const experiences. They do this on purpose right now, but obviously we want to take this further. So
I've done this as a property before. I've done this as a property. It's when it's, but it can't be like the colon format. It has to be, so it can't be a named property. It has to be a positional property. And then it works.
Oh, wait.
Or you don't have the right constructor.
No. It's, yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
Okay, they've obviously changed this. I'm going to take that back.
No, I've done that before, so I know. I've done
that's
this
what
2 years ago. Yeah,
I stand corrected. No, but did
it worked? It worked 2 years ago.
Have to go. Sorry, I know you had a time out there.
Yeah, it's gone. And I've only had about 15 minutes.
Oh no, he's back. He's back.
No, I'm good. I got 15 minutes, Simon.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
me too.
Well, so we can get done in 15 minutes, right? So now we're replacing the top values, which is like the list, right? And what's nice about this is we kind of start sort of running back around to where we were doing stuff, and we go back into, what was it? Well, now instead of having these indexes always like bad, right? So instead of having an index, an active index, and all this kind of stuff, we're gonna make this stateful, because it should be, because this is managing. Well, yeah, take that back. I'm stateless. What we can do is determine the use route, go router state of context. Let's just oh, we're getting state passed in because it's stateless. Same difference. Okay, fine. Yeah, this is kind of where there's some interesting things we can wrap up here. Now, I was thinking about this not using go router. Using go router, you want one source of truth, right? We want go router knows what route you have. It knows that kind of stuff, right? But we want to bring our enum into that, right? So this is where pages come into it. This is what pages are about. So let's bring that back into this. So let's create the concept of a page for our app. Vault page. Stands page. Sorry, chaps. I've got someone at the door. Sorry.
Okay.
So that's that so far. Yeah. So in one project, and actually I've tried this in a few projects, but in one it was particularly successful. I created an enum where what I did is that for every page, for every screen I wanted to construct, I made sure that it had a static method that took context and route as two parameters. And then I made my Go router setup such that I had an enum that had the string route, but also could take a static of the class of the screen dot route to, or whatever the same name was that I put as a static function in all those. I need to do a video on this, but then since they all had the same shape, I could have the structure that eventually invokes that, just basically do one level of indirection and boom, I'm on the page, and the page itself defines what it wants to find in the params because I'm passing context down. Yeah, it was really slick. So because the page's constructor had both context and the original string, it could do whatever it wanted to, interpreting that, setting itself up. You know, so I moved the locations of where the responsibilities were. The page itself described its own route and described its.
Well, that's really clever.
What to do with context? Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it from Simon.
Sorry.
It's like I'm smart. Simon actually came up with that.
Did I?
Having,
Yes, I'll take full responsibility. Sure.
having a screen, having a page, define the route to it as a static, and also defining the context interpreter as a static, and then you put that in a table. That was your idea, and I stole it, and I was just describing that. And he's totally focused, so he didn't even hear anything I said. All right.
I'm just gonna say nod my head and say yes. Sorry.
But it was Simon that I first saw that. It was about 2 years ago on this show, and I've been using it that way since.
I'm trying to remember what the
it upsets the people who want the routing table to be like where the actual string route is, because I'm pushing that down into the actual page. But I think having, for a given screen, having all of the routing stuff buried as part of the structure sort of makes sense, because I think that way it's you can add a new page trivially. Just 2 places.
Kind of bugging me that it takes. I want a material. It's not a material. I was looking for a material page about Builder or something like that. That would do what I want. We're going to not bother with. We're just not going to. We'll worry about transitions later.
Yeah.
Because
we're running out of time. We've got 8 minutes. I go into another meeting about what I'm doing next week.
So what we want
literally
in
what I'm
here
gonna do.
is when we create a page, we're going to want a final top level route. It's not really like a route in the sense of what we call a route. Maybe it was top level route, just so it doesn't get confused. More confusing, should we say? Come on. And cool. All right, so this is basically wrapping the. I think you were just describing this, Randall. This like sort of the page connects the other settings for a route, basically.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
There are other parameters that we can pass on. I don't think we need to worry too much about that right now. When it comes to how we build our routes in here, you can do page builder.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of doing this, what we're doing is returning back a vault page of our route. There we go. This is top level. Okay. Maybe this should be like top level nav or menu or something, but it'll do for now. So now we've got this going on. So this is just, it's the same concept, just wrapped up. But now the key concept here is that our current page that we're on, we can actually capture that. And then we can do this with a little thing like this. We can say vault page of build context. And then what we want is find a current route. This is not about go route or anything like that. This is just purely like standard, Flutter, right? But now this nice thing about this is if we come back to our navigation bar, we'll do it in our main scaffold here. This whole thing here is now the attribute of this is its page is state page. Is that? No, that's not a thing. There is actually a way of getting it. Oops, I forgot what it is, but it doesn't matter. I don't really care. So it's a page equals vault page. I'm not sure if this will work actually, but we'll find out. This is based off the current context. This context doesn't hold. It's the child, which is the widget that holds that page. Where is it in GoRoute? I know there's a place. Page key. This is going to really bug me now. I don't think it's going to work, but we'll find out in a second, won't we? Sure, let's do that to see what happens. I'm pretty sure it's just going to bug out. Yeah, I thought so. Hey? Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, which is what I thought it was going to do. Oh, interesting.
What's the actual error? I can't read it.
Material page void is not a subtype of vault page.
Ah, gotcha. Interesting.
Yes, indeed. I think
3
this is
minutes.
because I know what this is about. This is about the fact that there's a top level route which this is accessing with the modal route, because the scaffold is sitting on the shell route itself, right? If this had its own page builder, then it would be using our vault page, right? What I'm trying to do is access this vault page here, which is instanced here. So although we pass the state down, the state needs to tell us what is the current route that's being used. And we should be able to get the current. There's ways of sorting it out. It's just annoying that it's done like this. So this is about. Well, I'll show you how we work. I'll show you how you work it and how you solve this problem, and then you'll be like, oh, okay, it's simple. But so, all right, so let's just take this out here. So it's this. This child is something where we're being made. Hang on. Tell a lie, that's not going to work. See, this should be easier than this, and I swear there's a way. It's bugging me that I can't remember what it is. We could just not use go around.
Actually, I'm going to need to hop off.
Yeah, me too. So
that I'm going to have to hop onto.
That's it.
So.
Right. Well, let's just quickly finish this little bit here and just say top level. Yeah, I need to go anyway as well. We're running up on time. So, but let's just say top level route is top level routes first where match equals.
I'm going to hop off. I will talk to you guys later.
All right. Thanks very much.
See you in 2 weeks.
Nice seeing you.
Bye.
See you in 2 weeks.
Why am I? Oh, because that's what. Right. And then we could. The fact that we have an active index is not really what we care about, right? It's just what is the current route, right? So we call this current route. This is a really crap way of doing this. It's not what I want to do, but come back to the page thing another time. So, and we can do more on this if you like, Simon. Like, I don't mind. Up to you, though, obviously. Right. And
Solomon suggests that keep working on it, but you can use it. Maybe we could finish it 2 weeks from now or next week.
let's get this in here working. Basically, get back to compiling state, right? And then we can. Oh, we have an error.
I'm just about gotta go. Yeah.
Yep. And there we go. Now we can say context.go route path. And then this height. There you go. Yeah, I mean, so this is all. Oh. Okay, our active one is changing. Obviously, the route is changing because otherwise that wouldn't work.
Oh.
But I'm at a loss to say why that is not reloading right this second. Let's just check something here.
Somebody was pointing out you don't need double underscore anymore, but okay.
Yeah.
Old habits, hard to break.
Interesting. Oh, I know what that was. Let me fix that. So if I go back to page, let me explain what's going on there. So we actually have a. So the settings here are basically supplying the fact that this is the same page. Pages have a key, right? Like it doesn't know that it's different. Is it page key? The one time I want it key. No, it is the key name arguments. Yeah. It's good. What's the problem? Oh, because it's a name parameter. Idiot. Sorry, tell me a second. Whoa. Lovely. Thanks, formatter. Oh. Sorry. Did the screen share stop?
Yeah, why is the screen share gone?
I clicked my lock button by mistake.
Oh no. Oh no.
Right. And then where were we quickly? Then back to the Vault page here. We should, and there can be slightly nice ways of doing all this, but right now just throw it in there. Right, so now I switch, it switches. There we go. Cool. All right. What we'll do, I'm not going to push this now. I think we're going to wrap up a bit quickly here. But what I'll do something for you is we'll message me. Have you got somewhere? Have you got me on a social somewhere or Slack or somewhere? Message me, and what we'll do is we'll get that up. We'll get this on a repo, maybe. It's up to you, and then we can see what you want to do. And we can see where we take this going forward. So it's going to be a bit, and then I'm just thinking that I can post a link to the repo if people want to see it. It's up to you if you want to share it more than what we have on the live stream. I don't know. So yeah, get back to me. Let me know what you want to do. And we'll see where we go from there. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us, and I hope that was slightly interesting. And we've answered some questions. A bit of a slow one today, but I think we got there.
And the show is still on next week, even though I won't be here. But I will see you guys next weeks.
I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. All right.
Yep.
Well, thanks everyone, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. All right. Bye.
Some of us will.